going on. I mean, it's really hard to kind of commit to one topic when, halfway through it, you're like, wait a minute, I wanted to get something out about the reverse repo rates. Because, of course, everybody, I'm reading it as it's circulating around, and really George Gammon does it best. So if you guys haven't already, check out some of his stuff on the Rebel Capitalist show, because he's just talking a lot about 401ks and how this, dramatically what we're watching in the economy, it can directly affect that. And the repo rates, everybody thinks it's QE. Well, now we've hit something where it's the opposite of a liquidity crisis, and we're having, there's no buyers and lenders. There's just central banks, and it's a mess. So I would like to get that out at some point. But listen, before I regress, Vicki, are you there? How are you feeling?
I am here. Yeah. Apologies if I sound all bunged up still.
Man, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just, like I said to you earlier, I can't shift this fatigue. I don't know what it is.
So you're still not feeling well?
So my head is still blocked. My ears are still blocked. Today is kind of like the first day where I feel I can stay awake. But it's just been the weirdest kind of 10 days.
You need the Acea Redox. I can't stress it enough, you guys. This stuff is truly miracle working. Sorry, Charlotte's been texting me, but she just keeps calling. Charlotte's texting me to get on another call, and I'm like, no, join this one. So, all right. Well, it's great to have everybody on here today. And thank you, Vicki, even though you're not feeling well. Oh, there she is. Hey, Charlotte.
Hi, you. Just have my dinner.
What'd you say?
I'm just about to have dinner, but I'll be back in about 5 minutes.
All right. Well, we're just kind of introing everything. Hey, very cool to see David Curtin on here. He and I got to connect this week, you guys. Just a really awesome man. And he was telling me about his heritage party that he started. David, are you there? I'm not sure. Vicki, do you hear him?
Not yet. He's still muted.
Okay. Well, David, I just wanted to give you a shout out. Maybe you can jump back on when you hear us. But yeah, and we started talking about the system and essentially where we see it going. And I mean, I know it seems quite crazy, but I've kind of, hinted around this, or maybe I haven't. I mean, I feel like I talk to Vicki about this all the time, that I really do believe this man that they call your prime minister is something else, some demonically possessed, I don't know, showman that has been easily controlled and somehow sold out for whatever reason. And when he goes there, I just feel he's the linchpin. I feel he's the placeholder for when all of this comes down. And, recently in this last week, we've had this vote again for him, and everybody's, oh, isn't it great? He was just never going to leave. He's got all this confidence. And I just think that there's, a splintering effect happening. But those people that, they just can't afford to have him go down, because when he goes down, so do they. So there's going to be an internal fight, for some time. And I think everybody's going to have to really see who the lackeys are and who are the real leaders in this. There were also some bizarre stories going out, about certain MPs getting arrested, and then they just went quiet. And I don't want to really highlight them. I mean, for those of you who know, about the story, but it's like, these are things that just make you go, what's really going on? Was this guy set up? Did he not follow the rules? Was he just a competitor to someone else? I mean, these things really do happen. And, this week has been all over the place with stuff from the Jubilee. And, I mean, obviously I've been talking to friends from England about the royal family, and I've been hearing some very crazy, interesting stories about the royals, so we can talk about that. And then this concept, or this I don't know, subject, I guess, of possession keeps coming back in literally every conversation I'm having. And whether it's actually meant literally or just, to one of the journalists who said something like, yeah, they're all Boris possessed. Now, he obviously wasn't, intentionally talking about demons, but I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, that's an interesting word you're using, because again, it's like, why can't I shake this? A very dear friend of the family of, all of this told me that she said, while a lot of these people are half-wits in real life, they're not particularly smart. If I could speak in her beautifully wonderful accent, posh accent. But she said there is this possession-like quality in all of them. And, the people that she grew up around, she's now, obviously been in and around it, but then has also learned how to see through it. And we share a bond because I feel like I was a 20 something while I wasn't, born and raised in England. I came over and got to see a lot of that stuff too. And so, having known a lot of these people personally over the years, and seeing their true colors, people that I used to have at my events, people that would actually stay at my house, other members of parliament, people that would come over socially. And, I can't get over what's happened to the people behind all of this. So I think we're really seeing an internal struggle. That's what that vote was about. I mean, whatever that weird demon possessed eye thing, that was more apparent on Telegram than it was YouTube from that recent interview. I mean, who knows what that was, if that was CGI or the film or the lighting. But it made for an interesting thread. So thank you for everybody that kind of participated there. You want to do a quick, I had a request for a quick, catch up on XRP. Vicki, are you down for that?
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at the charts at the moment, wow, everything is bottoming out. It does look like there's a really tight channel at the bottom at the moment. Predictions for liftoff. There's been a lot of talk of things going around in June. We've been watching a couple of the, how would you call them, other altcoins start to make some moves, like it's UNFI, isn't it? UNFI. Wing was another one. Lit is another one, and these have all done 200% increases like super quickly. Watch UNFI go from $1.40 up to $41 literally in a day. So there's definitely some movement around in the back of the market. Bitcoin and Ethereum struggling, but everybody's in this kind of channel at the moment, and it looks like it's going to pop at any time. XRP holding strong around that 30 pence mark, 40 odd cents. I still can't shake that we've got this potential one quick whip back before it goes off. But it's just boring looking at it. It's not very inspiring looking at any of the charts at the moment, because they've just been bouncing along in this channel for nearly 2 months now. So I don't know whether it's manipulation, Jen. Could be. I think they're all holding off for the changes when it comes to the digitalization, and that way we've got stock market under pressure. I mean, it's crashed completely, and everybody's like, oh, it's not crashing, but I mean, we've had like 8-9 consecutive weeks down. So it's just very, very tight in the market at the moment. A good time to stock up on any coins, that's for sure. I know where I've had a few pennies here and there, been topping up the bags, as they say, but it's not a great time for any kind of trading at the moment on that kind of front. I don't think anybody's going to make any massive gains.
Do you think we're still going to have that back test of 20 cents?
I've still got 2 buy-ins. I've got a 25 cent. I've got a 22 cent. But I did pull off the 18 cent because I've got 17.35 as the potential lowest. So I'd always go like a cent above it. But
Wow.
I've still got them sat there, only as potentials.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's just, I guess, everyone is kind of, this is a terrible time to be entering crypto. Hopefully my mic is better, you guys. But because, since anyone has entered, the market has just gone down and sideways. It's been very boring. So for that, I apologize for the newbies that might, think this totally sucks. Yeah, and then you've got this lawsuit and this drama and, Hinman speeches and, Judge Netburn, and you've got John Deaton giving, all of this stuff. And so, for those that are like, wait a minute, I just thought I was, making a bit here to make a bit of money. I didn't ask for all this, like, regulation and, all this crazy stuff that's happening. I mean, from my understanding, the regulation in the US bids Bitcoin and Ethereum to be regulated by the SEC, which is interesting. The same three-letter corruption agency that's now going to hang. I mean, they will hang for this stuff with, Hinman. There's just no way they can get away. I mean, JP Morgan is pretty much the founder of Ethereum. And I just, Digital Asset Investor actually tweeted that the other day. And I was like, he's so spot on, because Ethereum knew a lot of its challenges from day one, yet they got free passes on everything. And I still don't understand. I mean, for those, I own coins, that are built on Ethereum. So, I do hope there is a spike, but recent conjecture, everybody's excited because their new, what is it? Their new consensus that they're rolling out. Like, they're supposed to have, their new updates coming out. So everyone's like, Bitcoin's or Ethereum's going to take over Bitcoin. I mean, it might well be, if we're going to play out this SOG story, of unlayering and revealing corruption, and I keep everyone, I've had so many conversations like, are we really going to see another Bitcoin rally this year? And I just think we've had way too much time down like this. So yes, it's all, as Bitcoin is the proxy to the dollar, yes, when the stock market goes down, so does the crypto market. But at some point, and there is the tipping point, there is this kind of separation where people then, and if you guys don't know, I mean, I'm sure you've seen these kind of headlines that spear all kinds of FUD and fear into Bitcoin and crypto, especially with regulation. People get very fearful around it. I think that is, no coincidence, part of the, so I think they will be spinning this, and then eventually they'll have to come out with the regulations of the proof of work not working. And, then we'll eventually get some kind of settlement with XRP. But I mean, the great thing about buying in at 20p is that you get a big, bang for your buck. The crazy thing about trying to buy in at 20p or 22, 25, I mean, it's best to spread them out in smaller buy-ins. So when you set those buy-ins, make them smaller than like one big order. Because, I mean, Vicki can tell you too, that when those servers go crazy like that and you see that kind of volatility, the exchanges tend to shut down. And, Uphold does its thing. We'll get back to you in a minute, like that kind of, we're working, our servers are down, holy shit, and then Bitcoin or BitTrue, it just like, you cannot get your order through. And even when it hits it, it doesn't close the, I mean, so that's just something to consider. So if anybody's like holding out for the big buy-in at 20, maybe buy on the way down or buy a bit now and, have a few. But just from experience, I mean, it's so frustrating. When Shiba starts pumping, it's just impossible to buy in. It's crazy. And then you have to keep, resetting your buy-in because it's already 3 points, 3 pennies plus ahead. And sometimes they'll retrace down. But again, with this kind of volatility and per Vicki's point of that coiling up, that tightening, we can't stay low like this forever. And they can only, destroy the dollar so much before these other, and by manipulating Wall Street assets, which then heed onto the rest of the market with precious metals. And But don't you guys think it's interesting the altcoins are going to be regulated by the CFTC? And the CFTC, the same, the same guys that have been investigating the precious metals market manipulation over the past few years. I think I retweeted James Rule, one of those guys, with a piece, that the CFTC was going to come out really hard on these crypto assets, on crypto and digital assets. And, it almost was like, okay, what are they trying to prove here? I mean, again, is this going to be another revealing of corruption, or are these going to be the alternative guys that kind of set this straight? And if you notice, there's quite a bit as we see more and more of the discussion of cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, this talking of gold and backing of gold with cryptocurrencies on blockchain. And you see the adoption of Glint, and there's others. I mean, AppMax, my gold place AppMax, they've just rolled out a card with rewards for gold. It's only a matter of time that card will also be, taking crypto payments, right? So like, there's just a whole fusion of, opportunity here for you, for all of us that have been kind of following this. And the reason why I mentioned the reverse repo rates, and it is something because this is like the top of the top lending between, the financial, the Federal Reserve and the central banks, and, basically the buying and selling of these security treasuries that are meant to be, guaranteed assets. But then what happens when your dollar, your currency has no value? And then, so then what does that do to the big assets that are propping up the market, like this mortgage-backed security issue that we never actually addressed from 2008? And with that, I cue in the discussion around this mortgage. You guys see the Prime Minister introducing this, the new kickbacks for low income or benefits. Is that what it's saying, Vicki, that benefits are allowed to now apply for mortgages? I mean, the first thing when I read through that article, not even having to know their program, was just the big red flag of, hello, remember on all the foreclosures in 2008-9? Remember how many people lost their homes? Because at that time, you really needed nothing to go get a mortgage. It was just stupidly easy. And the minute those rates went insane, so then those people lost their homes. And given what we know about universal income and the way that this, creepy surveillance system that they're trying to pull over on us is working, they're using people like Zillow and Lloyd's Bank to buy up all these houses. How easy then, when they own the bank through the mortgages, do they get to turn around and make the people that thought they were buying that home potential renters? I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. Vicki, do you want to talk about your experience with mortgages, and maybe somebody else can chime in?
Yeah, so as you said, the kind of 5 times your wage kind of lending for people, and people buying, massively outside of their means. It's a real concern with the, I think everybody should have the right to buy their own home, don't get me wrong, but the way that the government are going to tie people in now, especially under the universal credit or benefit system, it's just sloping into that's the universal payment that they want us all under. You own nothing and you'll be happy scenario, because the government will own it. It's the same as these part rent, part buy homes, the government schemes. My brother looked at one quite a few years ago now, and I had a couple of friends who were stuck in them, unable to sell, had to find the other 50% of their mortgage within 5 years, otherwise the interest rate and payments went absolutely through the roof, had to find loans, and it's just going to be another way to get people tied into a debt that is unaffordable and unmanageable for them realistically. But it also gives the country, similarly to those securities you were talking about, Jen, it helps the government have nice little batches of extra mortgages which wouldn't have normally naturally been available to then sell and raise money. Hopefully they don't sell them to China, and start selling things out that way. I mean, getting our mortgage was, you know, the last, we moved in September, and it took months and months and months, and you know, they want to know everything, the ins and outs of everything you can imagine. Even being a director of a company, I had to go through so much more than others. So it just seems really strange that it's going to be all scaled back and money handed out kind of willy-nilly. I just don't understand.
Yeah, that's a great point. They really did drill you for that. You'd think that you were asking for, you know, the Taj Mahal by applying for these mortgages. And I remember from just being in the UK how put off I was. You know, they very much want you to fit in their box because their limitations, you know, are so I mean, people in 2008 must have had a blast because, you know, or 2006, 7, 8, because whatever happened to the market completely changed the way that these mortgages have been given out. And then suddenly, you know, then now we've got these programs where you're going to give people with, I mean, just this is all government handout, giving to government handout. And, you know, the people in between, man. So I just wanted to let anybody you know, if anyone wants to comment, now's the time.
Yeah, sorry, I've just got a bit of feedback there. What I wanted to say was sort of like the whole problem at the moment I see with the cryptocurrency scene is that there's a problem with actually sort of like spend. So say you bought XRP, you bought your Bitcoin, and you want to spend it. What's happening at the moment, which I see for a lot of people, they're cashing it out. They're cashing it out into a fiat currency, be it the pound or the dollar, and because they want to spend it, you know. And I think the real problem at the moment is because, you know, if you want to buy anything, people just want cash, and it becomes very difficult to spend your crypto. So you've got to cash out, you've got to convert it to, you know, this fiat system, and that for me is a real problem. And I think until that changes, we're going to have an issue sort of like within the crypto scene at the moment, you know, because it's obviously going to affect the prices until the big players start, you know, accepting XRP or Bitcoin or Ethereum to make purchases. I think we're going to be tied in to this, the pound, the dollar, the yen, whatever it is. We're going to be fixated with that, and that's the whole crux of the problem that I see.
Am I feedbacking everybody?
You're okay at the moment.
I get, yeah. So thank you for that. I mean, I can see the concern there, but really the crux of the problem is not the use of cryptocurrency as much as the death of the paper fiat as we know it. And what we're seeing are the growing pains as this adoption into the new, you know, payment rails. Now, we're about, you know, we're about to talk about a Shiba NFT in a bit, and that's an exciting project that I think is being built out of the XRPL. But as we move into this new system, you know, you're going to see all kinds of things as people, you know, try to hold on. Fees go up, and that's not really anything to do with crypto as much as the supply chains and the death of the purchasing power per the currency we hold. So what we have no longer has its value. And the further that they, you know, interest rates go up and we are overspending without that productivity back into the economy. And we're sending money abroad to fund really criminal wars with other criminals, paid for by the tax dollar. This is the crux of the problem. And, you know, the electricity, you know, this is all part of their narrative to push an agenda into another creepy surveillance, crypto, you know, pay with your face kind of biometric surveillance system. And that's not what we the people will allow, essentially. And we are going to have to be dragged through the mud all the way to the end, since there are some sleepers and take the extra minute to wake up, and there's always going to be people waking up. But actually the real you know, center and strength of all of this is the resilience, is the people that keep fighting back, that keep stopping their plans. You know, their roadmap was meant to be executed per some of our threads. You guys can look back in July, where they were implementing more lockdowns, which they, you know, there was such a riot and a presentation of people. Remember those London and countrywide protests that definitely helped stop things. And these letters that we've been sending with the WHO treaty and fighting out on both sides of the pond, Americans have been doing the same as, you know, what we discussed a few weeks ago with UK Citizen. So eventually you're going to see, because this system is dead, right? There's no going back, that there will be an adoption of something brand new. And it will be the best, you know, technology with the best sustainability and scalability, but it doesn't have to be made nefarious per their wishes. The end of cash, I'm not one of those people that believe the end of the cash will stay, because we the people will continue to use it. And if they don't want to take it, well, we will just deem it lawful and use it ourselves. There will always be an appetite and a group of people that want cash. And when this system collapses, do we all think we're going to stand there with bated breaths waiting for their next move? That's when we start implementing, you know, people will reclaim their sovereignty. There will have to be, and demanded to be, transparency, variability and transparency within the financial system, which means there cannot be third-party servers that intercept with these ABA, BACS, CHAPS, all these payments that go through basically glorified email messaging protocols that actually now, and this is so interesting, guys, the regulation discussions this past week, they're all now saying, well, actually everything on blockchain can be transparent and recorded. And, you know, it's like quite a different narrative from a few years ago when they were wanting to tell everybody that only drug dealers and, you know, laundering, you know, people used crypto. And now all of a sudden we're starting to see the kind of turning of the agenda. Now, what I would like everybody to, you know, if your crypto's not your thing, fair enough, but don't keep your money under a mattress thinking that it's the best thing. I mean, you want to have some cash at home, but really it's the precious metals that always come back to being real money, no matter what happens to the economy. So if you don't like crypto and that's not your thing, fair enough. But there's plenty of people that are excited about it. And because of how this is really going to free the chains of enslavement from the current system that we're in, there's going to be a lot of opportunity that with the financial system that we're moving to that was never available before. For many reasons. And, you know, micro loans, payments on day, you know, like smart contract executing. Can you imagine working a shift, you know, an 8-hour shift and being paid that day instantly? No 2-week, no monthly. I mean, all that's crap. All that allows interception and, you know, third party finagling. You know, you sign a contract, it executes on smart contracts, you work that shift and you get paid. I mean, there's a lot of great opportunities that can come with this new financial system. I do want to talk more about this and I welcome everybody's feedback, but I do, while we're here, Jordan, are you here on this call today?
How you doing, Jen? You all right?
Yay, hey, all right. So you kind of hear how I'm talking with the group and, you know, I mean, you've been on some of our other calls that Vicki and I talk. We're kind of very traditional when it comes to the crypto stuff, even though she and I like to try new things. We're just very concerned that, you know, there's so many lobsters and, noisy kind of projects in this space that, you know, for us to really be serious and to talk about a project, I mean, it really has to be something special. And so this is why, you guys, I wanted to make sure I had time on the call before I forget to just kind of talk about Shiba NFT. We've mentioned this in the financial assets group a few times. The founders of this coin are in our groups, and Jordan is one of the founders. So welcome, Jordan. But this is like such a perfect example, okay, of how the adoption is going to grow and take place into crypto. And not everything is creepy metaverse. You know, if you don't like metaverse, if you're not into the AI stuff, then that's okay. But that just because people are gaming and like NFTs and like this kind of adoption, the two are not, you know, they don't equal each other. There's a lot of, whenever there's new innovation into space, there's a lot of really cool projects that take off and die, or they really take off and they're cool for a bit and then they eventually adapt to become something else. Actually, that's what NFTs are, because you were always able to mint stuff to blockchain. It just took, you had to do it a bit differently. Now you see the adoption of minting on blockchain in form of code that can become, you know, an iconic with a picture or a service, or in this case, an opportunity to join this Doghouse VIP club. Now, many of you might go, what the hell is this? And this is why I wanted to make sure that we could talk about it, because Shiba NFT is the Shiba token built on the XRP ledger. And Shiba has this incredible opportunity community of, you know, people that are, you know, really into this little character, this dog character. And that, you know, they've got all these partnerships. They're going to have a Shiba verse and a Shiba Ethereum on their new blockchain. So Shiba's done very well. And obviously we've been very very vocal about XRP and the future of these payment rails. One of the biggest things that Shiba doesn't have, you know, you can't send it very quickly. The gas fees are outrageous. So Shiba NFT has adopted this token onto the XRP ledger. And because of that, you've got this community that's grown, that's really interested in making these very special, you know, limited edition experiences via their artwork, via events, eventually this app that they're going to come out. And Jordan, I won't say too much, but right now, the VIP lounge, or VIP Doghouse, is, guys, just a perfect way to collect an NFT and enter into this club where you have a potential to earn XRP and other cool prizes, you know, every month. Now, there's only 500 NFTs available. So when you're, you know, entering a drawing, this is just your first step into their new club, you know, which is their kind of VIP members of the Shiba NFT community. And you will be awarded your membership in a form of an NFT. And then every month you are entered into a drawing. Jordan, do you want to take over? Do you want to talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity coming back. I was listening into your discussion about crypto in general. I'll just add, before I go into Shiba NFT, I'm massively confident in crypto, and I really do believe there's a reason why Ripple, the company, are partnering up with so many institutions across the world. Whilst in the middle of a lawsuit, I think everybody knows XRP will become number one, be used worldwide. I'm just so confident in it. This is why we're spending so much time developing Shiba NFT. Same network as XRP, because it's the one that's going to last. Obviously, you referenced Shiba Inu. Again, it's a huge cryptocurrency, but we feel that we can surpass that massively due to the fact we're built on the best network and we're bringing so much more. The NFT aspect of our business, we're trying to break that stigma from your average investor or average person who's yet to arrive to the NFT space and the crypto space automatically assumes that an NFT is simply a crazy 3D cartoon, and that's it. And in some instances, yeah, it can be that, but we're providing a utility in a couple of different aspects for NFTs. And like you say, with the Doghouse, Yeah, brand new exclusive club on the XRPL, which is going to be private. Each month we're going to be hosting live raffles, massive prizes in XRP. Nobody knows this yet, but I'll tell you now. The first draw that we're going to be doing once these sell is the first prize of 10,000 XRP or a luxury holiday, something that's yet to be done on the XRPL. So that's a massively exciting aspect. And then, yeah, each month, massive XRP prizes, NFTs, merchandise, experiences, and you also get that exclusivity. What we're trying to do is basically build this single aspect out and create a crypto lottery. So this first one, we're referencing this to the national lottery, if you will, with Lotto. But on the national lottery, you've got Thunderball, obviously you've got Euro Millions, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be doing more versions of it moving forward and building this exclusive club up from the ground. So yeah, that's an exciting aspect that's going to be launching soon. Steve couldn't make it tonight because he's busy minting the NFTs currently and pricing them all up ready to go. So yeah, stay tuned for the announcement when it goes live. Another aspect with the NFT utility, we've partnered with a company in London called Meta Racing. And essentially what we're going to be doing is providing NFTs, which will act as a form of proof of ownership for horse syndicates. So we've got 15 horses, I believe, with one of the top trainers, Harry Fry. We've got pretty much his whole stable that we're going to be building for him within the NFT space. And then there's further plans to develop a metaverse surrounding this aspect called the Jockey Club. So yeah, we're a project built on the best network, and we're not focusing on one single entity. We're trying to build something so it appeals to every single person that arrives on the XRPL. So like you said, some people, the metaverse isn't for them, the NFTs aren't for them. So we're trying to build something that caters to all. Another exciting aspect is our app that we're currently developing. That's going to be finished next month. We're going to be bringing a utility to the token. Within this, there's going to be augmented reality character. Within it, you'll be paying for interactions and training to upgrade through the levels. Mini game series. There'll also be another game surrounding the augmented reality. A global leaderboard that's hosted on global servers because we're anticipating it going huge. Social chat rooms, a decentralized exchange built into it as well. And this is just phase one of our development plan. What we're going to be doing in the near future, as you well know, Jen, is beginning phase two, which is building our NFT marketplace. So again, it's just going back to that aspect of having a project, an all-in-one project that caters to all. So we're going to be hosting everything that anybody should need if they're interested in the crypto, NFT or metaverse space.
Yeah, cool. So to buy one of these NFTs, it's really, I mean, it's like a membership into the club. And the club right now, you know, given its launch, is going to have monthly drawings. I know you have other stuff that you're planning to come out for the membership, but right now the immediate invite is to buy an NFT for 500 XRP.
Yeah, that's correct. We've actually, I think we've priced 50 of them so far. We haven't even announced them yet, and 3 have sold. So when we do launch, it's going to be a monthly live draw. So initially what we're offering is monthly prizes in XRP. And because we're so confident with XRP going to $12 to $13 within the next 6 months, when we're giving out a 10,000 XRP prize, that is mega money. The following months, the top prize will be 3,000 XRP, and it obviously jumps down from there. But if you're holding your XRP, it equals mega money. So it's a huge competition over a 12-month period, and all you simply have to do is purchase an NFT. Right? Yeah.
So that's, I mean, you guys, it's just a fun way to be a part of the Shiba NFT community. You're holding a piece of art. You can always resell it. That also has its value because it's of the limited edition first offer into this Doghouse Club. And then you would also, be able to be part of these monthly drawings, which, if anything, would be just more ways to win free XRP. So I think it's a really cool thing, especially since these guys are really building the utility behind this token. And this is just a fun launch way, an interactive way to basically carve out a community of VIP Shiba NFT, really diehard fanatic, people that are really into this, to build and grow the community, because they are working hard behind the scenes to get all of this out. And it's very unique and interesting, the stuff that they have planned. And then to be able to create that interactive experience with these NFTs, it's just something that I find, and Vicki and I have been really excited about it, because this is showing adoption and innovation into this onto the XRPL. And they're bringing such a fun, vibrant community, which, you guys, let's face it, most of this stuff, banking and payment settlement, XRP, SEC lawsuit, I mean, that's really boring. It's very straightforward, so there's not a lot of excitement, I guess, in that space. And so Shiba NFT crew brings that. Also, last year, Shiba was also very, very new. And, like I said, for those of us that got in really early with that, it was one of the best trades, I've ever done. So this is also a huge opportunity for people to get in with the community from the ground up and be part of all their partnerships and new things that they, reveal and bring out to you guys, because, ultimately this is where we're headed with the new financial system. So, oh no. I am so sorry. Is this giving feedback?
No, you're okay. It's only if you're unmuted when we talk.
Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm seeing some of the notifications. Okay, so Jordan, they go to shibanft.co.uk, right?
Yeah, so they can head to the website, check out the website, obviously. We've also got the Telegram group, the comment section for this thread in your chat. Jen, I'll post the link if anybody wants to join that. We're building a huge community. We're also massive on mental health, so it's about providing that network of a safe space for people to join, come and hang out, have a chat. It's a very supportive community. We've got members from all across the world. It's growing daily, and it's an exciting opportunity. It's not one to be missed.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And guys, if you have any questions about this token, or how any of this works, just let us know, because we are trying to explain a lot here. I mean, when we mention tokens, there are ways of, building tokens on other blockchains. And this is one, one of the first ones built properly on the XRPL. And XRP is, the Ripple Foundation is really serious and committed to building out an ecosystem, because they started at the top, whereas, Ethereum and everybody else went for the developers and the gaming kind of space, at the beginning. And here you have Ripple that, has basically created worldwide, partnerships. And hey, look, no one's complaining here, right? That's still my favorite coin of all. But, the projects that are built on XRPL are the ones that will sustain. So you're not looking at something that's pumping and dumping and going away and being regulated to hell. You're looking at a very new, cool community that's coming, together under these, the use of this Shiba image, built on the most sustainable, scalable, no fees way of making payments and tokenizing that. And there's going to be all kinds of, fun gaming interactions and, components that come. But really, if you're just new to the NFT space, don't really know much about it, this is an excellent way of buying an NFT that maintains its value as the project grows, and then obviously allows you to earn, each time monthly there is a drawing. So there's just another way to pack your bags with more XRP. But yeah, so thank you, Jordan. Anything else you wanted to add? And then we'll move on.
No, that was pretty much it. It was just, I don't want to give too much away about the app. There's a few more features that I don't want to discuss just yet. It's quite a unique idea that I don't want to let out the bag just yet. But yeah, I mean, most projects go after the already established crypto communities, which is obviously what we've done as well. But we've basically taken the approach of bringing the masses to the XRPL. Obviously, it's still such a small percentage what's invested or interested in crypto currently compared to the global population, and that's soon going to change. There is going to be a huge migration, a new influx of investors, and we're built on the best network. So if you want to learn more, feel free to join the Telegram group. We host AMAs in there. Also on YouTube as well. We're always available for a discussion. To answer any questions. So yeah, thank you very much, Jen and Vix, for allowing me to come on and talk about it.
Yeah, and thank you, Jordan. I mean, one just last closing point there. When I keep talking about this Web3 and building on blockchain and, building in the browser and the way the payments are changing and all this, you guys, and then I stand really resiliently, like we the people will build. We will take over and we will do this and we will do that. Well, here it is, right here in front of your eyes. Jordan and his team literally are doing what I just keep saying we the people are doing, right? The developers are the ones who call the shots here. They're the ones that are going to be building this new ecosystem, writing the new open source tools, making it available, right? Taking this is why the central banking system cannot sustain, because the internet took over, and with that came this vast adoption and gaming and this tokenization of money that can be sent without being intercepted. And that's what we're seeing. So even if it's still brand new and too raw, I just, when I think about Shiba NFT and why I feel passionate to share it with you guys, is this is a team that's literally building a community with a token that is building value that over time, will eat a few zeros. This is a just launched product. But because they're so committed to building a utility, it's sustainable because it's built on this XRPL. How many other projects are going to come out of this in the next few years? Shiba NFT will be one of the first, no doubt, and will always be remembered of that. And there will be others that come and join. But this is how adoption takes place. So we are literally building that new financial system. And guess what? Shiba NFT people are not adding creepy biometric surveillance in order to, close a transaction. They're literally creating a new way of payment, a new interaction of art, a new way of buying and selling really goods online that are represented in forms of code. So I hope I've addressed some of the questions people have sent me privately about this token, and some of the people today who asked again to just kind of reiterate why the hell I'd be talking about this and why Vicki and I all of a sudden became we are ambassadors with this team because, why not? These are founders from the beginning that have rolled up their sleeves and not afraid of putting in the hustle, to make this stuff happen. And that's who we want to support, you guys. So on that note, I guess that was my big Shiba NFT shout out. But I don't want this to all be about crypto. Does anyone else want to add something? Vicki, do you want to add something?
No, just for me, the Shiba NFT, the whole team, having the privilege of seeing everybody working in the background and the commitment and the drive is just been phenomenal. So I know I've said it before, we're so chuffed to be part of the project, but to be able to see what you guys are up to, it's just been amazing.
No, it's massively appreciated. You guys bring a whole new dynamic, and yeah, let's just keep going, keep building, and I'm absolutely certain that we will be one of the top projects within the crypto space. We're bringing everything. So yeah, thank you very much for giving me the voice and for obviously becoming a part of Shiba NFT. It's massively appreciated, and you've always got our support as well.
Hi, water carrier. Just saw that you raised your hand. Did you want to say something? Okay, I guess not. It was interesting because I saw a thread earlier about the Bitcoin stuff. Then I think of Bradley Kimes, who mentions El Salvador, and the way that the payments have the transactions take hours sometimes to settle, and you can't accept cash or accept food. And I think this country really is showing a perfect example of how sometimes early adoption is meant to fail and designed to fail for a reason. It was never going to be Bitcoin, you guys. Never, never, ever. Or Ethereum. So I, do hope that if you have questions in this space, that you understand that not all crypto is created equally, and there is a new space that is being carved out of this nefarious dark arts that has been practiced in and amongst and around Wall Street, and that's the digital assets. And so now what we're seeing with the regulation happening, this is no coincidence. Someone earlier today sent me this Blockworks company and the Blockworks group, and I thought, wow, where do I know Blockworks? To go back to my friends, remember I told you guys last summer I used to apply almost daily to the Bretton Woods event that was being produced by Blockworks, and I wrote them on Twitter, and I got in touch with their team, and I shamelessly kept asking to go. I even offered to be a bartender for the event because I just thought, I know what you're doing and I need to be inside these walls. And they denied me every single time. They told me I was not an institution or a government leader, and I thought, oh man, well, that's why, I want to be one now, because I just feel like that at the time last year, I got really excited about this Bretton Woods event. Now, I specifically remember on these calls, being told, well, no, that's just a marketing event, like any other marketing. They just use the name Bretton Woods. And I said, oh, no, they did not. You did not do your homework. I have spoken to these people that are producing this event. You have to have all kinds of badges and security clearances, if not the leader of the country, to attend. And so whatever marketing they were doing on Twitter was just merely a guise to let us, common folk know this was going on. And so this was the Bretton Woods event of last year. I mean, do you remember this, Vicki? I was like losing it during this time. I'm like, what's going to happen? Wanting to know what we would be told. Well, you know what, guys? We were told nothing. Nothing about this event. It just happened. And it was just the most bizarre, like, wait, what? So if you look back at history, I sit there going, well, wait a minute. Did the people, when the Bretton Woods of 1945, when that was going on, did the people know about it? Were there people applying and asking the same kind of producing company, let me go? And were they told to, you are not an institution? Because I found that offensive. I found like I, deserved to be there like anybody else who, persistently and resiliently asked to go. Now, why I mentioned this is today I was sent some peculiar, interesting things from the this BCB group, as far as who owns them and what they are. And, it's very interesting on their terms and services. They say very clearly, this is not for, retail investors. Now, the person in retail investors, guys, in the UK and the US, and if you look through their website, it's like, it almost not, you just think, of course they're using Ripple. Of course this is X. What is it about this? And, they're basically, the person that sent me this, highlighted some TNCs that I thought were interesting, because we are unlawfully not allowed to own these things. Is there backlash now?
No, so I just had to mute the water carrier.
Oh, okay. So persons or residents in the United States or the United Kingdom, to whom financial promotions. So we are not allowed to be part of this. But then you think, well, then it's a global economy for instant settlement. And the Blockworks webinars are the same Blockworks event that produced the Bretton Woods thing that is also this BCB group. And then if you look at who owns this BCB group, it's all the big names, like everyone you know. So I mean, I don't know. There's like JP Morgan, Digital, Goldman Sachs. So there seems to be something going on here that I thought was very interesting in this tie-in. So if anybody knows anything more about these guys, BCB group, I mean, I'm being told by Political B, if you're here, raise your hand. I asked him to come on, but apparently YouTube will, take it down if you reference it, which was very strange because it doesn't really strike, that kind of, it doesn't really raise too many eyebrows, on first glance, so if you heard the name BCB, you wouldn't necessarily think anything of it. But a while back, and I'm reading what he's saying, in passing conversation, someone mentioned that BCB Treasury plays a role in CBDC. This was before the whole, COVID thing. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but now that CBDCs are being talked around town, it seems probable that BCB Group plays a role. Maybe they already struck some kind of deal with the governments and banks. I'll look into this more. As you know, XRP is the chosen one, and they didn't want the wider public to catch on, so maybe this is why they're censoring. But even if that is the reason, it doesn't seem credible enough to me. Something else is up. And it's interesting to see how this all plays out. So again, he flagged this to me. I'm flagging it to you guys. If anybody knows more about this particular group, and I will share what he sent me in, this channel, in the group so that we have it. But I found it very bizarre that suddenly, because look, guys, the Digital Pound Foundation, this kind of stuff is all setting up now. And so I guess, remember that Edward Dowd clip that I shared? He mentioned there is a new financial system, and I think one of the things that we all need to be ready for is who's going to control it and how is it going to function? Where's the accountability? Where's the governance and all this? This is why we must pay attention to how this rolls out, because we will be the effect, that how this shapes. We will be the, ones that help guide it. And like I use the example of the developers and the exciting stuff on blockchain, that's, that's just one part of it, and then also being able to settle payments instantly without third-party banking. People still get freaked out about this when these digital wallets are your new banks, guys. The features will start rolling out. You'll see more and more of the developers, like, the Shiba NFT team, like my husband. I mean, he's doing some stuff that I'm not sure if we can even mention yet, but with Ripple that, is very cool. So we're watching this adoption take place around us, and the block, I don't know, maybe we'll have to censor that. We've never had to censor ourselves, but what a bizarre thing to have to censor ourselves over. This BCB group, especially since I emailed them like all last summer trying to figure out ways to get into their event. They run more than one. Anyway, I didn't go, guys. I wasn't going to comply, not even for the airline, to attend the one in, I think it was just outside DC last year.
I still think you should have.
Remember the gifts of me trying to sneak in? I mean, the tickets were like $3,000 a piece. I mean, I didn't even get that far. It was like, how are we going to pay to attend? But at the point, I mean, I just wanted to be able to be there to find out, because something definitely happened in that room. And Bretton Woods, you don't just use that name, all right? It doesn't happen. And the whole Bretton Woods moment, I mean, come on, this has been published how many times in the economy? I mean, like from the various four, I mean, they're all just kind of trinkling it out there, like little by little, sprinkling it amongst, so when you start paying attention to that, then it's really hard not to see how it all, that's why, I mean, last summer I was just looking forward to this event all summer, only to be told I couldn't go. But yeah, I guess, I don't know. Should we stop talking about crypto and talk about some crazy other things?
You have some good, crazy other things.
Should I share with some of the stuff I've been told this week? Is anybody else there? I feel like we're just talking to ourselves.
Can we talk about Boris Johnson?
Who's this? Is this Schilitz? Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I'm really, speaking as a UK citizen, I'm really upset at what's been going on with Boris Johnson at the moment. I feel that he's been sort of like shown as a liar now. They've had all of these parties, and they've literally, I feel like they're laughing at us. And I think there's a lot of the UK population are very, very upset with him because of how he's treated the whole COVID thing. And it's very upsetting, when you can't see your dying mom, your dying dad in hospital because of COVID, and all these guys are having the parties in 10 Downing Street, and you hear the stories and things that have gone on within 10 Downing Street, and it's all come out, and he's got away with it, and it's just business as usual. And I'm just so angry, and I just think, how on earth has he got away with this? And it's just business as usual. Why? I'm angry. A lot of people are angry, but it just seems to be swept away under the carpet, and it's just business as usual. I'm just infuriated myself with what's been allowed to happen. And I feel there's many other people out there that probably feel the same sort of thing. And I just think if people could say, how has this been allowed to happen?
Jen, can I interject there? Shillett, are you angry because he did it, or are you angry because you don't understand why he did it? And what I'm getting at there is that the pertinent question that nobody's asking is, how did he feel, he and everybody else feel they could get away with it? Were they scared? If they weren't scared, why weren't they scared?
Well, I just feel it's a farce when you've got people having parties, they're celebrating, having drinks, having the friend, celebrating birthdays. They're all getting together. They're not following the rules. Everybody else
because they're not scared, though. Because they're not scared. And why weren't they scared when they were trying to make the nation scared?
Yeah, and it's the hypocrisy that annoys me, because they're saying, do what we're telling you, but they're not following their own rules. And this hypocrisy is just infuriating because they're not living by their own rules.
But and why weren't they living?
Can you hear me? Well, only they can answer that. I can't answer that for them. But the hypocrisy is shocking, and it's there's a wave in this country, in England, and Great Britain. We are shocked to the core of what.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm not interrupting, but I'm really, it really makes me wonder why people aren't wanting to delve a bit deeper than that. It's not just hypocrisy. Hypocrisy, yes, but hypocrisy means that you're doing the opposite of what you've been telling others to do. But why are they doing the opposite? That's the main crux of the matter.
Can you hear me, Shillitz?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just let me turn.
My question to you is, what were your expectations?
My expectations is if people have set rules, leaders of our nation have set rules, they abide by them because they say we should all do it. And if they've not followed that themselves, it makes a mockery of everybody. And that is infuriating to me, you know.
So I don't want to come across as a cynic, but maybe I am. I'm not surprised. Someone said to me about something in relation to something else. We were talking about something else, and his remark was, for certain people, this is their first rodeo. And I don't mean that to sound disparaging, but it's just to say that I didn't have the expectation of them. None of this, what I'm seeing right about now, is surprising me. I suppose I've been surprised by the depth and the blatantness, the way that it's like they're not even hiding what we knew they were doing before, or what we thought that they were doing before that has now been proven right. Now it's like, have it. There you go. It's this. And we don't care what you think anymore. And it's
exactly
an extension of something that we noticed before, the cynical. And I think you can be over cynical. You know, I've got people who, they don't believe nothing. And I even question that. It's like, you don't believe anything. You know, stuff that you can say, well, I can debunk that. And it's more about the fact that you are such a cynic that you cannot accept that anything that these people say has even a modicum of truth. I think that's an extreme. But certainly what I've seen from Tories, you know, these sort of, there was epithets, you know, Tory scum and this. In a way, there's some things that you can say, well, we knew that, we heard that, and how do you build on that idea? And so for me, this, what Boris is going on with, it's not surprising.
Hi, can I
just jump in just 1 second? Mark, you're really, really quiet. I don't know if you've got some headphones, so if you want to come back, can find some headphones or something just so we can hear you a bit better. And if I can remind everybody to mute in between when people are speaking, just because it gives feedback, and obviously we're recording. Go ahead, Kirsty, sorry.
Hi, sorry, I've got a theory. My theory, and I can't get rid of this. I think the puppet masters really want Keir Starmer leading the show, and I wonder if they deliberately, all this stuff was deliberately filmed, the partying leaked out to really tarnish the Conservative Party. So by the time we have our sort of general election, the UK is so sick of the Conservatives, they get in Keir Starmer. That's my thoughts.
Can I jump in again?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Why does nobody want to question why they thought there was nothing to be scared of? Because lots of reasons. If you think back to all the propaganda and remember all the horrible adverts, act like you've got it, you know, stay at home because you're going to kill your granny. Or this was all put out by the very people who weren't adhering to the rules right at the time. It was intense. It was on bus stop posters, every radio station. You couldn't move for it for a long time. People somehow forget this. And the crux of the matter is, if you're going to go back to Boris, who was allegedly, if you're going to hashtag Deathgate, was at death's door with this in ICU, and then gallivanting with everybody he knew after it. It's such a deadly disease. This is the crux of the matter. Not why it was hypocritical, because it was, of course, but how did they feel they could get away when we're living a deadly pandemic, allegedly, with a virus, a so-called virus that could wipe everybody out? And that is the crux of the matter. And nobody wants to ask these in the mainstream media, in this channel almost. But go on, go.
Can I just say, we want answers about Midazolam here in the UK and Remdesivir in the US. And also going back a few conversations, Jennifer, you mentioned the gold bat. After the Lehman Brothers crash, they were saying they wanted us to be Basel III compliant, and nothing's ever happened about that. Is Basel III, I believe they are also they are the central bank, part of the problem. So would that be a bad thing? And also, Shillets, you mentioned you can't buy anything using crypto. I envisage going forward, I'm hoping to buy another property and use the metals for it, you know.
Yeah, but I bet you have to convert your metals to cash, because no homeowner is going to say, oh, yeah, dump me a few gold bars or whatever metal you've got. They want the cash. And this was my point when I was making that point, that people are they just want to deal with cash because they don't know any other system. And until we change that, until people, accept other forms of payment as a general rule, we're going to have this issue where it's not accepted, and it makes everything so much more difficult. But if people said, I'll accept XR, so much XRP, and if you just send it and we'll get it all done legally, and until that is a method of payment where people accept it and appreciate it, we're going to be stuck with this dying cash system at the moment. And obviously we need to get out of it, but it needs the big players to actually, get on board, start accepting crypto as a payment option, and then we can move forward and we can get out of this trap that everybody's stuck in at the moment,
It's say legally, but it's legally in a corrupt system. I mean, cross my hand with silver. I'll take it.
Yeah, people will do it, but it's a minority at the moment. We need there to be more and more people accepting alternative payment mechanisms. At the moment, if you start, you go to buy a car or whatever, you go to buy your shopping, and you go into the store with your crypto wallet, you're not going to get very far.
Well, I think that right now is just deliberate because they don't want you using crypto because it's an alternative outside the banking system. But yeah, I mean, I see your point. I still think that the bigger issue is going to be the dying dollar. That's just the slow bleed. How and when that triggers a new system, I don't know. How it all collapse, how long is this going to be propped up? But I do think there will be a new system that comes in and changes that. And right now, using XRP, don't use that to buy things. Use cash to buy things. Hold your XRP. Now is not the time to be trading XRP for anything. Just buy it and hold it because this is an asset for the future. And buy and hold some silver, physical silver and gold. So if, outside the system, so that if there is a need for bartering, that's just another thing to help, have at your disposal. And so, yeah. But listen, I mean, going back to the discussion around why is the blatant thing, I mean, that is a very honest, very, I can see many people are asking that. And that really goes back to the problem that we are seeing right now by this orchestrated, very contrived, very manipulated government that is being told how to vote, when to show up and when to leave the chamber empty, these kind of things, when to show up and make sure the right vote is cast, etc. And I can see the internal struggling, but ultimately there does seem to be some kind of hold over these parliamentarians that are voting in this, very unified way, for all of this. And it's not just a few parties. I mean, there's lots of stuff that's happened that, the ministers and the whole cabinet, I mean, everybody's responsible for, including Boris. So, this thing that they call, Johnson in office. But I mean, I do not see this cannot sustain forever, whatever the vote charade they put on there. At some point, there will have to be, something that triggers the fallout of all of this. I mean, this man is, they're playing off of the fact that in his younger years, he was so charismatic and likable that a lot of his, not so perfect qualities were dismissed or people laughed off. Now it's a very different, very serious, dark, and horrible reality where he's not even the one in control anymore, guys. That whoever, whatever it is that is controlling all of this is doing so not just at the helm of him, but the entire circuitry of the establishment. So right, left, it doesn't matter. Whether it's Keir Starmer, whoever it comes in, there is a bigger hold on that government. And there's been stuff that, recently that come out about the way that, things have been running that, I mean, again, I don't see how this can sustain, whether they put Keir in, or Starmer in to replace him, or Priti Patel, or, Liz, whoever their next puppet is. We got to face the facts that the government is not the government of the people, by the people, like whatever they've told us in history school, from the second grade onwards. That we are actually in a system now that does not work. It's not, no one, their policies are being forced through or tried to be forced through without the elected, request of the people, that, of the people that are meant to be the ones that are holding this government to account. The government doesn't care about its people. It's clearly taking orders from elsewhere. So I think that's the bigger problem that we have here. And it is very frustrating and super emotionally exhausting to keep pushing back at that system. But ultimately, this is why every week now I keep saying this death of 1,000 cuts. We have to just keep pushing back at every little thing that we can. Because I don't believe that Boris is, Teflon or, waterproof. Or eventually this whole ship is going to sink, and it's going to sink miserably because the man that we've been told has been in charge, or, none of this has been, this has all been very much planned. The scripts, they say, the way the votes came out of nowhere, and then we had a vote, and then now we can all move on. It's in other words, it's a way to open the door and close it and start a new chapter of what's best for the future, the rebuilding of the economy. You see all the way the headlines have moved. You see how now all of a sudden, just right out of left field, they've got this perfectly timed PR stunt to show how low-income individuals can now benefit, or the benefits that now come with owning a house and a mortgage. Oh man, they're not telling them about what happens when that mortgage basically, goes under because the bubble to which it serves, has popped. So, I mean, I don't know how long you've been in the group, but this is kind of what we discuss in and out weekly, about just how this disintegration right in front of our eyes of these parliamentarians, of this government, this awakening. This is where people call it the Great Awakening, because a lot of us weren't really paying attention to a lot of this now, but because it's so blatant, one has to ask, how the hell can you not see this? So, yeah, I hope that makes sense. Anybody want to add to that?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Is my volume up?
It's a bit better.
I'm using the same headphones. I've had problems with these headphones, man. Literally, I stuck in my ears. Yeah, you hit on something there, Jen, that I was thinking about, and we've kind of had a sort of chat about in different groups anyway, which is like you mentioned about the government isn't the government. It's not what we think it is. And what I was saying earlier on when I put the question to Shillis is to say, what was your expectations? Some of us kind of cynically have known that the government isn't what we think it is. And as time goes on, you get to see more and more and more that it is really not what you think it is. And I knew from media, the politicians and media heads like the Mail, Rothermere, these kind of people, they had a relationship that goes back 100 years. So when you know that, and then you ask yourself how these stories come to be, and you look at that relationship, it tells you something about the narrative. It tells you something about the stories that come forward and why they come forward and why we hear these things and not certain other things. There is something that's going on which has gone on for a long time. So for me, it's not a surprise. But what you hit on there, Jen, is a question that I've had, which is, what is, like these people, politicians, MPs, policymakers, whatever it is, what is the hold? What is the relationship with the WEF and the WHO and any other institution that we could pull out of the bag? That relationship with our government. Gates has come, which I think has been a takeover. I think I've seen a takeover. When he came and the NHS, that to me, there was a deal that was done there. And we're not going to sell the NHS. No, you already did. You did something. Something happened there. There was a shift. the way that medicine is done in this country has shifted in the last 5 to 10 years, and you can see it if you look at it. But what the hold is, that is the question in my head. What is it? What do these people? I'm thinking about what's that thing that Tom Cruise is a part of? Scientology. Is it that? Do you know what I mean? And I think that is very simplistic of me to say, but I'm starting to think, well, what is the hold? Why are these people signed up to this thing? Do they have no morals? Is the Nolan principles meaningless? Am I making sense? I just wonder what people think about that.
Can I say something about that?
Of course.
I mean, I think a lot of the politicians all across the globe, they're all connected to the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, and it's this. There is an outside entity, which is a globalist organization, and they have set up a system, and they have infiltrated, and they are sort of like buying politicians through whatever means possible. And it's about this world control. And there is an agenda at play at the moment, and it's becoming more and more obvious as time goes on for all to see the reality of what's going on. There is this agenda for a one world government, and this is what's going on. And it's very damaging, it's evil, it's wrong. But the more it's pushed, the more we see. And I think this, as it's pushed, people are becoming aware of it, and we need to push back.
Yeah, and I agree with you, but I'm getting at when Klaus Schwab is saying we've penetrated this government and this and that and this and that. Okay, cool. We can say that in a very abstract way. We can see it. But my question is, what is he using? What is the thing that is making these people sign up to this? You've got communities of people. You've got families. You look them in the eye. People say it's the money. Really? It's the money? Aren't these people rich enough? Surely there's got to be something more than just the money. Are these people that cold? And in different sort of groups and stuff, I say, yeah, they're that cold. But really, are they? Are they really that devoid of feeling like what we describe as humanity or humane or whatever words we want to use there? Really? Is that what's going on?
Mark, yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes something I think about quite often is like someone like Rishi Sunak, whose wife is a billionaire and he's got access to a lot of money. Why is he doing this? What is in it for him?
I think it's all about power and control, isn't it?
Exactly. Go on. Sorry, Pete. Go on. I agree. Exactly.
I think it's all about power and control. I mean, you say how cold are they? I mean, they've been murdering people around the world with this bioweapon for the last couple of years. And regards Starmer, I don't think he will ever get in as Prime Minister because of his past protecting paedophiles.
Charlotte, can you say something about
the
interview?
Hi, dear.
Can you say something about the interview?
I was just going to. What have you messaged me about today?
No, the interview with Hancock.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. I'm echoing, by the way. 1 second. Right, try again. Yeah, so going back to what you said earlier, Jennifer, about like PR campaigns and whatnot. Matt Hancock, I don't know if anyone's noticed, has got a big media promotion at the moment, and he's like getting softball interviewed left, right, and centre. A lot of it's about the topic is dyslexia, so apparently he's dyslexic. And so Loose Women had him on yesterday, for example. And it was just nothing about the travesty he's caused over the last few years, just about this, you know, endearing topic of dyslexia. And so one thing today that you might see over Twitter is that Matt Hancock's had an interview with James Melville and Isabel Oakeshott on their new podcast, and it was nothing. The questions aimed at him were nothing to do with what we want to ask him about, such as, you know, Midazolam, the care home catastrophe, all of the bollocks that we know and want to ask him about. His conversation was about crypto, and what his thoughts on that were. Nobody wants to know what Matt Hancock, the Health Secretary's thoughts on crypto are. Come on. What kind of interview is that? How can you be in the same room? And that's how the interview was conducted. It wasn't over Zoom or anything. 3 people in the same room, where in punching distance, had a lovely little conversation with the dyslexic Matt Hancock about his thoughts on crypto. So how many, you know, there's so many things we want to say or do to this man. I'm not threatening anything, but why on earth? It was shameless self-promotion for the podcast, of course, but you just wouldn't do it, would you? Jen, what do you think?
I would never, Vicki. Oh, even if Matt Hancock became the biggest XRP shill on the planet, would never think to interview him, knowing exactly the part that he played in the last 2 years. I mean, so this is what I was worried about with this podcast thing, because of course it's always likes and subscribes, and what great way to get, you know, a huge audience, but to have Matt Hancock for some controversial, you know, so if you're looking at it from the media perspective, but honestly, that's a sellout move. I don't like that at all.
So the first thing I thought when I saw that this was, I mean, I've got my thoughts on the interviewers, of course, but I thought, oh, that is quite a scoop. If anyone can have an interview with said person, that is what you'd class as a scoop, isn't it? But then to sit in a room smiling, probably having a photo op afterwards, when the general public of the UK have done nothing but want to wring this guy's neck, and and the interviewer was, especially one of them, is trying to allegedly hold people to account and get a name for themselves as standing against the narrative and the government, then this is a complete opposite of what you should be doing right now, unless it is to raise your profile and promote your new venture.
Oh, yuck. James, that's a disappointment. It's a huge disappointment, because he's got a great following. You know, he's done, I mean, God, this is like a few others, you guys, that I've mentioned in the chat, you know, that have done just these weird things that you're like, what? Why would you, what? You know, Matt wasn't just kind of involved. I mean, Matt was solely responsible involved, you know, shares and backhanded contracts involved. And Matt Hancock, as you will know, has got zero spine. All right. The man will fall for anything because he doesn't stand for anything. You literally have to prop him up on a chair to keep him from oozing all over the room. I mean, he will just say whatever you want him to say. I mean, this is from personal experience. The guy has nothing. I don't know how any woman can find him attractive. He is just the most little tiny parasite. Just squish him and make him go away. Honestly, the guy will sit in a room. Years ago, he was the minister of DCMS, and he was all talking about tech and cyber skills, like he knew anything at all about cyber. I mean, and then now he became the health minister, and he knew everything about health, and we should all take him so seriously. I mean, seriously, guys, This is what we do. We rewash, our laundry and like air them out while they're still dirty and stained. I mean, this regurgitating politicians has to go. Matt will not know anything about blockchain other than the payment he's received from the companies that have told him to open his mouth and speak. I mean, he has pretended to be part of the tech community for years. He's a wannabe at best. He gets involved with the events, the tech events and things, the tech companies that will pay him the most to basically regurgitate the script. How the hell is this man anywhere near still a political figure? And why anybody at all that has been challenging the network or wants to stand for freedom, truth, integrity, and most of all character would think to invite them onto the show to ask them what they think about crypto. That's just asinine stupidity. Call that what it is. I mean, please, people, see these people. When they tell you who they are, believe them. Believe them. You don't need to have a brain on, understand crypto to know that Matt Hancock is not the person to be taking notes from or pointers. In fact, anything he touches turns to garbage. Please send him a note saying I said that, because I want him to remember it forever. I cannot understand.
I've just invited him in, Jen. I think he's going to be in 2 minutes.
How is he still in any, really? So when you brought it up to me, I'm just like, wait, what? Certainly there's got to be a logical explanation here. Thinking there was some kind of plan to talk to him about, whatever. But no, you're saying there wasn't.
No, exactly, yeah. So I think from what I gather, they were hoping to gear up for a second interview. So this was like the
final. Oh my God. Oh my God. What did Abby say, really quick?
Oh yeah, I've sent you the voice note, but she's been brilliant. She said, why would you get some sort of, it's like inviting Joseph Mengeles on to talk about, I can't remember what you've used, but she said, why don't you get someone like Jennifer Arcuri on who's got integrity, which was quite nice.
Aww.
Yeah,
really.
Say that.
Aw, that's sweet of her. No, that's ridiculous, though. Thanks for sharing with us. I understand you have to go. Did anybody else see that or have an opinion? And I don't want to talk smack about James. I actually liked it. He was likable. He was nice. I've talked to him on the phone. What the hell? An interview. Oh,
that's the thing. It's just people. What's the right way to say it? What he's done, if whether it was with the best intentions or not, smacks of, look who I've got on for my second guest. And yeah, that would be fantastic if he asked the right questions, or he put him in his place, or he actually alluded to, or asked. There's so many questions you could ask a guy like that, and a guy like that should not be a question of crypto.
A guy like that should be ignored or rounded up with handcuffs and put before the public.
Yeah, arrested. Sure.
Literally, yeah, there's no reason to talk to this guy. There's none whatsoever. And if your interest in fame and need for media endorsement for likes and subscribes is so important to you that you have to bend over to Satan, that is just insane. That guy was totally demonically possessed. You saw him smile on the screen when he was sitting there peddling
laughing his head off.
No
way. And the other thing that we need to establish is how it got approved, or how it got how he accepted to go on there, and was there like an approved list of questions? Because I think Dan Wootton interviewed him, and I've got my thoughts on him as well. Hancock was on GB News a few weeks ago, and I think he gave him a bit of a grilling. But I think Dan Wootton's spoken up and said, actually, there was no approved list of questions. I was just able to ask what I wanted. So take that as you will.
Sorry,
in
say
comparison
that
to
last thing
Melville.
again. Say that last thing again. I missed it. About the question.
No, I was just saying. So Hancock's been doing the rounds on the media over the last few weeks, and I think his first appearance was on GB News with Dan Wootton a few weeks ago, And Dan Wootton has laid in on Twitter to this James Melville interview because somebody has said, I'm pretty sure you've got to submit an approved list of questions. And Dan Wootton's turned around and said that no, that's not what happened with me. So.
Oh, so he's saying he's free to ask whatever he wants.
It's something like that. Yeah, don't quote me word for word, but it was along those lines. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting because usually they're not, and usually, you know, you'll get an outlet like the BBC who they've already decided the agenda in the morning, so they'll take the.
Yeah, well, it makes you think. Yeah, I mean, Jen will know more than me, but GB News has got its reputation, or preempted reputation before it started, and so it makes you wonder how someone like Hancock, I'll go on Dan Wootton. He's not gonna give me softball questions. I don't know how it works, but
yeah, well, that's it. It's interesting, isn't it? Because his handler, and you know, they would have sat down and had a conversation about the best place to go. This is why, you know, when I see Gates, I know Gates is going to places where he's not going to be challenged. And the one time he was challenged by, I can't remember her name, he fell apart because that's what he does. He doesn't, you know, he can't, you can't have him on a show doing live stuff that isn't favourable to him. He falls to bits. So I imagine that would have been a conversation that would have happened before, and they would have said, yeah, let's go on GB News. Question is, why would you think that? Why would you think that GB News was favourable to your quest? Do you know what I mean? And then you're going to go and sit in front of what? Dan Wootton? It's interesting. And I suppose that's my veiled question is, what do people think about Dan Wootton? Because he's been saying the right things for a long time. We had that picture of him with the symbol, whatever the symbol's supposed to mean, all-seeing eye.
Yeah, he did the old Angela Merkel, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Which was interesting. A little bit too prominent for my liking. You know, people stand like that. I've seen people stand like that. It's customary. But
yeah, it's natural, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It depends. It depends where it is and how it's done. And I didn't look at it and think anything really until it was brought out. I think someone mentioned it and then Jenny commented on it, and I thought, it's interesting. I don't know what it means.
There's a guy actually. So I commented on that on Twitter, saying you're doing an Angela Merkel or whatever. And I think it's unnatural. I don't know. He's quite a low grade kind of guy in a way. He worked for the Sun, didn't he? Did the Bizarre column. He had the Johnny Depp trial, all that kind of thing. And he says all the right things to an extent. In my opinion, this is, of course. Some guy, I think it's on Telegram, it's called The Matrix. I'll send a link in a sec. And somebody sent me a bit. This guy's done a bit of a background dig, and again, I'm crap at regurgitating stuff, so I will send it. But this guy done history of like where he went to college in New Zealand and this bit of the Masonic type thing and all these secret things. I don't know, but it done a bit of a dig, and it just like appeared out of nowhere, like some of these people do, and so. I just don't know who to believe anymore.
I mean, you know, for me, the bottom line is, whether it's a president or prime minister, one of these people working at the BBC or any news outlet, whether it's the employees, and the unfortunate reality is people go into these things, some of them come out jaded, some of them fit right in, you know, and the rest is whatever the rest is. You know what I mean? I don't think any one of them is going to be any one thing, certainly not necessarily for us, but watch this space we will, I guess. That's how I look at most of them. They work for someone, they work for something. What do we expect?
Agreed. Jen, is there a way for me to like post a link in here? I've not used Telegram for so long.
Yeah, are you in the main channel? Because put it in the last thread we just posted.
Yes, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, guys. So this was awesome. We're gonna have to wrap up here. yeah, I don't think anybody should be giving Matt Hancock the time of day, and I have no problem saying that to his face. This is ridiculous. This guy, I mean, he is old. He has damaged the nation enough. So we really need to stop just, glossing over things and, holding people to account, which I guess is kind of hard when everyone wants to just get, make nice with everyone and, make the best of what they can. And, if you're trying to launch a new podcast, sure, I guess you want to try to do whatever you can to launch with a splash. But look at what that means, right? Selling out again, finding another person that just, totes the narrative, and you get to sit there and smile and look, important. I frown on this kind of stuff because I'm really trying to get this to end in a way that, that we can stop shaking hands with people that are criminals doing backhanded things that are not of anybody's interest but their own. So on that note, I thank you, Charlotte, for bringing that up. And I can't believe that Matt Hancock is now making time to do these like podcast circuits, like, just should tell you everything about his desperation, guys. This just is a stench that is very familiar. So recognize it. And yeah, hopefully we can get Abby back on. I love her. She just, had to take a few days, so we'll try to get that rescheduled. And until then, I really love these community calls, hearing from all of you weekly. Thank you for, sharing today, and we'll hopefully get this up and posted soon. Right, Vicki?
Yeah, on it.
All right. Well, thank you guys all. Have a wonderful night, and hopefully see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Bye. Later.